Ricky Bow Thursday.
Sunny TV Unfiltered. It's we're remembering Highbury days, and who better, right, to talk about Highbury than my three best friends. And I've got another couple who's just disappeared because they've got shit in it, but that's another story. Do you know what? When I think of Highbury, I think of '89. There's only one person that I can actually think of, and that is Amanda. Right?
I thought he was going to say Michael Thomas.
Amanda, George Graham's even not talking about it no more.
I think you were talking about Michael.
Makes her polish, has a cup of coffee.
I don't drink. That's funny.
Amanda, tell everyone who you are, right? And also, can you also shout out that brilliant podcast that you do as well, please?
Oh, okay, yes. So I'm Amanda from the Highbury squad with Sophie, who is Soccer Diva, and Kevin. Hold on, where's my thing? Down there. He's our podcast brother, who's been with us a couple of seasons now, and we don't do visual. Because if you saw what I turned up like on our pods. Anyway, so yes. Hello, everyone. Kevin will call me Princess Guna. Don't get confused. I'm Guna Girl 1960.
You know what? I just want to check them. That is an absolutely brilliant podcast, right? Anything Amanda doesn't know about Arsenal ain't worth knowing, right? She's forgotten more about Arsenal than most people know.
Don't ask me questions because I don't know dates. Also, do not do that to me.
Also, I want to shout out Mr. Moody, Johnny Buttons. Give us a smile, Johnny. Come on. You look like a mush.
I try. I'm smiling now. Amanda's here and Kevin. Do you know what I mean?
Oh, hello, Johnny.
My partner in crime, I'm a good.
Hi, Johnny.
Kevin.
How you doing, everyone? Hope you're good.
Obviously, we need to leave royalty till last. Kevin, big up yourself. The boy from Streatham who's done good. How you doing, bro?
I'm from Brixton, not Streatham.
Let's get
that right.
I was going to say that.
You're supposed to get that right.
You killed my intro, bro.
What?
You killed my intro.
Yeah, and listen, you kill me. I can't allow that. Sonny, hi everybody. Nice to see you all. Guna Girl, Princess Guna, as always. Lovely to see you, and congratulations on your move.
Thank you.
This is really one about a nostalgic one because we've all really come up in an era at Arsenal where it really was the catalyst for change, which brought Arsene Wenger and all them in. But before Arsene Wenger and before we talk about the George Graham era, there were some tough times at Highbury, weren't there? Yeah. Real tough times under Terry Neal and then Don Howe. And, there were half-empty stadiums, Amanda, weren't there?
Yeah, I was only thinking before, Kev, about when I used to sit on my seat and put my leg over and do the slow hand clap. But I don't think you were playing at the time, to be honest, because I would never have slow hand clapped you ever.
No, I think I was in the school. I was a schoolboy at the time.
Yeah,
I was a schoolboy at the time, and it was really, when you actually look back on them days. Obviously, you got the North Bank and all that was always there, clock in. Them days were tough days.
Yeah.
Them days were real tough days.
Kev, try and explain to a normal fan, right? What's it like being a footballer at Arsenal? At any level, what's your day to day? What did you do at training? What did you have to eat? Everything.
Well, let me take you a typical Friday because the Friday was pretty exciting as a youth team player. But I think what we got to remember is I was a fan first. Yeah. I was a fan. So I stood on the North Bank. When I could get in, stood on the clock end, 20 minutes to go getting into the stadium. And just I was an Arsenal fan. My first game was 1977 and I supported Arsenal in my life. So to actually come through the ranks, etc., and get involved with the club from a young age. My coach at the time was Pat Rice, obviously legendary captain who captained the team, right back, tough Irishman. So let's take a Friday, typical Friday. I used to get on the tube from Brixton, make my way up to Highbury. The youth team players used to get on the bus. So we were YTS. none of this fancy money. We had I earned £27.50 a week.
May I ask you a personal question? Can I ask you a personal question? Just as a ballpark, right? In the early 90s, right? Like in the 80s, early 90s, for football at Arsenal, what was like the average wage? Compared to
I couldn't tell you what the average wage was because I was a young player coming through. Everybody had was on different wages. But for instance, as a youth team player, when you just signed pro at 18, so that we're talking 1988 now.
Yeah.
The average wage was 250 quid a week.
So who would have been the top earner then, and what would they be getting roughly?
Sorry, I can't hear you, Sonny.
So who would have been the top earner then, and what would they have?
It's me. 1 sec.
See, when it comes
We
to
can
money,
hear you, Kev.
when it comes to money, Kevin don't hear you.
I was about to say, when you start talking to footballers about money,
He's the same in the pub.
He's gone.
he's gone. I knew he was on more money than that. That's why he vanished.
As soon as you ask Kevin about money, he thinks you're from the 11 Avenue. That's what it is. Johnny, bruv, they built Highbury around you, bruv. Yeah, tell us what your memories was. How old was you when you first started going? And did you have a beard then as well?
Well, I'll be honest with you. I still don't know what a razor is, mate. But at the end of the day, my first game I ever went to, it was when Alan Smith. We played Austria Vienna, and Alan Smith scored 4 goals that night, and I believe Dean Saunders scored 4 goals for Liverpool that night in Europe as well. But I remember a diving header from Alan Smith, and Alan Smith was an absolutely brilliant. I'm sure Kevin will agree, Amanda agree, to all of you. Alan Smith to me was my first little hero, really. I think he got 1 yellow card, Kevin. Is that right in his career?
I think so. Yeah, only one. He's a gentleman.
Yellow card. He was a gentleman, lovely player. I think you know him, don't you, Amanda, as well?
What, Smithy? Yeah. Not know him, but yeah.
And I just he was the first one I sort of idolised, and I know obviously Kevin, and then Righty came along as well. But
how old are you, Johnny?
How old am I? It depends what nightclub I'm in.
Okay, well, just do the Sunny nightclub. What? How old are you?
They don't live in anymore.
I'm 39, so I'm an 80s baby.
So that's why Alan Smith is more yours, because I'm 10 years older than you, so 11 years.
Me, you, and Kevin, we're in the same bracket. We're in the same bracket.
Fabulous 50s.
15, by September.
I remember clearly when Kevin Campbell. Because I remember my dad, God rest his soul. My dad was a Campbell fan.
Are you saying Kevin was a dead footballer? Is that what you're trying to say?
But my old man liked him as well. And my next door neighbour, he was Ron, bless him. He was a Leyton Orient supporter. So obviously, when he went to Leyton Orient, he was happy as well.
Nice, love.
Kev, I'm not going to let you dodge a question, bro, because
I want to get back to it because
I just want to be nosy.
So in 1988, the average wage for a youth team player signing pro forms was £250 a week.
How about top earner?
I wouldn't know. I wouldn't know what the top earner. Bro, how would I know what the top earner was?
When someone, bro, when you're going in with your grifter and someone's driving with
how would I know what the top earner was? I was earning £27.50 and then 35 quid. But believe me, it was nothing like it is now. Obviously, probably 5-6 grand maybe.
I was about to say, I remember Tony Adams. I don't know.
I was going to say Adams.
Tony Adams was on 6 grand a week.
Yeah.
5-6 grand possibly. Yeah.
Well deserved. If you look at money compared to today and you put Tony Adams on 6 grand.
Well, Johnny, everyone, you look at, people going about the class of 92. Look at the amount of players who came through the Arsenal ranks back then. It was pretty unprecedented. That title-winning team at Anfield, how many homegrown players were actually in the squad?
Sorry, cut up there, Kev.
I'm going to have to kick Melvin out because he's got what's that.
It's interfering. What I was saying was in the 89 squad and the 91 squad, if you add them up, how many homegrown players were in both of those squads?
I think when I looked earlier on, Kevin, there was only two foreigners in the actual 91 squad. That was Limpard and Sigurdsson. And I think in the 89 one, I think there was only one.
Well, Limpard got signed in 91, didn't he?
Yeah.
The year after one league, Limpard got signed.
What year was Stefan Schwartz? What year was Stefan
Well, that
Schwartz?
was much later.
Yeah, that was after. That was after 93, I think.
Yeah,
93, I think he was. But the point I'm trying to make is George Graham, when he came in, you had your Kenny Sansoms, your Charlie Nicholases, your Graham Rickses, David O'Leary was still there, John Lukic, etc. But what George Graham done, he realised there was a nucleus of homegrown players that the fans could relate to. I think that was really important. Rocky, Tony Adams, Martin Hayes at the time. I think one season he got 25 goals, I think it was.
Martin Hayes left in 91 as well.
Yeah, Niall Quinn, Paul Merson.
Oh,
Gus, even Gus Caesar started coming into there. Michael Thomas started coming through. There were so many homegrown players who the fans could relate to, and George Graham realised actually they're really good. That's why he just knew he had to bring in a few little gems like a Lee Dixon, Steve Bold, and Nigel Winterburn. Look at the players who actually came in, and for what money they came in for. It was pittance, really. But George Graham knew what he was doing. He knew he had to work on that defence, and he did. And he kind of built us into a team who he wanted to challenge Liverpool. That was the first day he came in. That's what he said. I wanted to challenge Liverpool.
I don't know if you agree.
Like working with him, Kev?
Sorry?
What was it like working under him? Was he hard?
Oh, it was excellent. He was demanding.
Yeah.
He was very demanding. But he was a very good manager, very good coach. Hi, Melvin.
Hi, Kevin. I think I'm back this time for good, hopefully.
Right. Yeah, I'm just going on about what it was like. Terry asked what it was like working with George Graham, so I'm just explaining that. George Graham was, George Graham took all the training as well. It weren't as if, there was just a coach there taking the training. He took the coaching, he took the training, he took the back four, back five, with the two midfielders at times. He's the one who instigated everything. And he called the forwards and stuff, the glory boys. You will have your success early. He said, but the back four or back five, you will have the longevity because the way I coach you will stand us in good stead for a decade. And how right was he?
Just before you come in, John, can I just say something here? What I want to get at this podcast, right, rather than let's all fire stats at Kevin, yeah, because he's not as young as he used to be, he might not remember, right? But basically, what I want to get at, right, is what did Highbury and games at Highbury means to us as fans, right? Okay, and is it any different as us as fans now? Our feelings towards after going to the end of it. Like, what's your feeling? Because for me, to be honest with you, it's totally changed for me as an Arsenal fan going from Highbury to the end. It's like I'm going to a second cousin's wedding or say, I don't really know them, but you have to go there and be polite. Yeah.
Can't hear you, Princess.
I can't hear her either.
We can't hear you, Amanda.
Can't hear you, Amanda.
Amanda, go out and come back in. We got
back in.
Go out and come back in. I'm gonna let me get rid of her. Oh, that's it. She's got.
Yeah, she's coming back in. Look, it's Sonny. Can I? What I want to ask you guys, because I think you're getting me to kind of co-host, but I want to hear your stories because as player,
that's what I'm saying. Yeah.
As a player, we love to hear your stories, certain games that stayed with you because everyone's different.
Kev,
and
can I
what it was like for you and where you were in '89.
Yeah.
Everybody, where you were.
Can I ask you a question, Kev? Just going back to what you were saying a minute ago about George Graham and that. how much of an influence? I mean, we know the player himself, but defensively, how much of an influence did Tony Adams himself make the other players better at the back? So when Martin Keown had his second spell, did he have a big involvement, not just George Graham, but the way they would defend him? Because in my eyes, Tony Adams was the greatest defender ever at the club.
Yeah.
Ever.
Look, I think what George Graham done was quite remarkable with those four guys at the back and then the goalkeeper. You know, John Lukic was the first goalkeeper, obviously in '89. John Lukic was a fantastic guy, good goalie, but George Graham wanted the upgrade. And when he brought Dave Seaman in, that was the key piece.
91, Kev. He brought him in 91, didn't he?
Yeah, you know, that was the key piece to that 91 team, and then moving forward as a football club. Dave Seaman was calmness personified. But any manager would tell you, or as a fan, you probably remember, you needed the voice. That voice at the back who could control people, who could kind of be that leader of men. And that's what Tony Adams was from a young age. And George Graham realized very early, we've got someone here who could be my general on the pitch. And I think that's what Tony Adams became. He controlled Lee Dixon at right back. He controlled Nigel Winterburn at left back. He controlled Steve Bold.
He helped Martin Keown as well.
Partner. Sorry?
I believe he helped Martin Keown improve as well.
Of course, because Tony Adams probably taught Martin the art of how they done it, about marking on the side of where the ball was, etc. Reading the game, because that's a lot of things they don't get credit for that. How they read the game, because let's be honest, to be able to keep clean sheets, you got to be a good reader of the game. And whenever we took the lead against teams, we virtually knew the game was over. So. Yeah. They had to be able to read games, and Martin improved as a defender, and he's reading the game when he came back to Arsenal.
Kev, you asked a really great question, right? How did you feel as fans, right? I want to bring Terry in, right? Because one particular game, I think it's a game that I think you may have made your debut. I think Terry was saying before, where Terry's a mascot, right? Yeah. I'm older than Terry, right? And I used to be a junior gunner, yeah. As a junior gunner back in them days, right? You used to see the players really often, right? And there was a lot more interaction with the players. Like we practiced saw them 3 days a week, right? At times, yeah, you know. I remember, I didn't know Terry then. He was just a snotty-nosed kid back in them days, right? When he was a mascot, right? But the thing is, I remember hating on him because I never was a mascot. Go on, Terry. What was your day like as a mascot? Terry?
He don't want to answer. They weren't very good.
Terry,
yeah. You didn't enjoy the day.
Can you hear me, Sam?
Yeah. Terry, what I'm saying, Terry, what was your feeling as a mascot? And what was it like for actually? What was it? Whose hand were you holding? And what was it like? Was it sweaty? Was it like? What was it like?
I was getting to the game, and obviously shitting my pants. Let's be honest, I was shitting my pants. I was 11 years old. I was 13. I was 13, and I was we got there, and in them days you couldn't go in the dressing rooms. No one was allowed in the dressing rooms. So obviously the funny thing was that it was 2 weeks after Christmas, and obviously I drove my mum and dad mad to get the kit. They bought me the kit, the old kit. And then 2 weeks later, I was mascot, and Arsenal give me a free one. So I got a free one and all. So that was unbelievable. You know what I mean? So, but I was standing down in the dugout, and then all of a sudden, 5 minutes to 3, all you can hear is the football boots, and everyone, all the Arsenal players coming out, and then we was playing Everton that day, and Neville Southall was the first one. He come down the stairs, he patted me on the head, and he was like really nice, asking how I was and everything. And then obviously, unfortunately, I couldn't have Tony Adams as captain. Then he was in prison. So it was Paul Davis. He was our captain that day. So we come down. He was saying, how are you and everything. And then all of a sudden he said, "Are you ready to go on the pitch?" And that was a dream come true for any fan. I mean, you got to do it many a times, Kevin. I'm sure. You know what the feeling's like running on that pitch, you know what I mean, as an Arsenal player. And then we run out, and the first thing I could see was a few of my mates in the crowd, and they was obviously like calling your name out and that. And honestly, that was when the nerves went, and then I thought, sod it. You know what I mean? Dixon can get off the pitch. I'm playing right back nowadays. You know what I mean? It was just brilliant. And I had a shot against Seaman, and they was all cheering and that. But it was just brilliant. But I had at the time it was Anders Limpar as my favourite player then, and I had all my pictures taken as him when the semicircle and things like that. He was a fantastic player.
Terry,
you know, I think what it was though, you didn't appreciate players at the time, if you know what I mean, like David Rocastle and things like that. At the time, you didn't really appreciate. For me, anyway, being 13 years old, it was the flair, and I played on the wing myself, so that's why Limpar was my best player. But I think if I was to go back now, it would have been David Rocastle was my best player.
I just want to mention something to Amanda, right? If anyone knows Amanda really well, right? Amanda's dad used to take her Arsenal, and recently, you know, from what I've seen on Twitter, your dad ain't been going very often, and you've taken him you've been to Arsenal now, right? What was it like for you as a kid? You know, because that was that special bond you had with your dad, wasn't it? Arsenal was that bond, wasn't it?
It still is.
Yeah,
it really is. It's I can't hear you. Can you not hear me?
Okay,
okay, I'll talk up a bit. I don't know any different. I was brought up there, so I don't really understand. It's like saying, what's it like being a religion? Because Arsenal for me I was like born Arsenal. I was taken there when I was 4 years old. I was thrown over the turnstiles. I was sat on his lap. I don't know my first game. I was 4 years old, so it upsets me then when people say, what's your first game? I don't know. I ain't got a clue.
I can't remember a game last week. I can't remember going back to
Kevin knows what I'm like. I can't remember 2 weeks ago.
Yeah.
But Highbury was very magical, and the Emirates is never going to be that. So we have to accept that and move on. It's never going to be what it was. It's like moving from a home that you love to a home that's okay. I don't like where I sit. I don't like the atmosphere. I don't like the fact that I used to be row 7 in the East Stand upper, and I could hear the players.
They weren't expensive seats, wasn't they?
No, I wasn't. I was like sort of Block E on the borders of Block F. So I was more near the North Bank. I wasn't centre or anything. But, I mean, you know, I was thinking today of some of the matches. I can't remember anything really, but one of the matches I do remember was when we lost 6-2 to United in the Cup. And I remember and I don't remember anything, Melvin. I'm terrible with memories. And I remember Lee Sharp opposite me near the West Stand just going mental because he'd scored the 6th goal. I don't know if it is the 6th goal, and I'm thinking...
I remember that.
Yeah, we've been through... I don't know what year it was. I haven't got a clue. But I remember so much about the place. I mean, my son is 16. I was pregnant there. I remember them letting me in I used to go through the marble halls to get to my seats. I was pregnant. I remember being on a video there. Someone's just typed in, was I on the end of season video? Yeah, it was me. Give us our 2 points back. It was 2 points those days, not 3. Yeah. But I remember standing on the street corner with everybody discussing right opposite the marble hall, on the corner with everybody discussing. We don't do that anymore because there's no place at the Emirates where we all meet. It's normally nowhere really. They're the pubs, I suppose. But it really was my first love of home. It was my first home. My dad only stopped going 2 years ago because of finances and the fact the club are not great to him and the fact that they want him to sit elsewhere to me. And he gave up 2 years ago. And to be fair, he was very, very anti-Wenger for a very long time. So I think he just had enough. And he's still, honestly, my word of a lie, he's so obsessed that's all he ever talks to me about. Wherever we are, even he has already messaged me to tell me what time we're playing Portsmouth in March. Bearing in mind, I already know. That's his whole life. And he really should, and I will get him on our podcast one day because he was there back in the 60s. So even earlier, late 50s. My grandfather was a Chelsea fan. I didn't know this. And took him to Chelsea Arsenal, and he went, no, I want to support Arsenal, and that's it. My whole family are Arsenal. I don't understand this dad being someone else and someone else. It doesn't work like that. Unless there probably is different reasons, but...
Mine was a sleeves, Amanda. Mine was a white sleeves. That's my fault with Arsenal. It was a white sleeves.
Yeah, well, I think my dad liked the colour red, if I'm honest. I think that's what he said. He preferred Arsenal. He wanted to be in London, more North London. He came from North London. He didn't want to support Chelsea, and the rest is history. But, I mean, I remember Highbury really well. I remember my seat. I remember the people around me. I bumped into someone the other day I haven't seen for, 10, 12 years. And it's just my way of life. So when people, at the very beginning, I've never, ever encountered sexism until Twitter, weirdly. Ever in all my life. If you know anyone that I've lived in the same area all my life, and everyone knows, Tottenham fans, Arsenal fans, we all talk. They would never look at me as being a woman. They look at me as being a gooner. And I look at you as being a woman. But since social media, it is bizarre the sort of shit I have to listen to. I laugh. Don't bother me in the slightest. They can do what they want. I'm just a sarcastic bitch, basically. So come at me if you want. But I find that it's a different atmosphere now. We didn't have social media then. Let me tell you, I was on the radio, I think 2 weeks before 89, going mental because we drew to Derby or Wimbledon. I can't remember.
Derby beat us, we drew Wimbledon.
Yeah. And I remember saying to them, we've got no chance at Anfield. There's no point going. We're not going to beat them. I had given us no chance. The only person that actually gave us a chance, weirdly, was my dad, who is the most negative of us all. Because when Mickey Thomas missed the chance, I said, let's go. Let's avoid the traffic. Could you imagine if my dad would have said yes and I'd have missed it? But I was only young teen. I was a teenager then. I was 19, I think. So I have a lot of memories.
Going back even further than that, right? We're gonna come on to 89. To be honest, 89 was a great. It was for mixed reasons, but football-wise, it was the greatest night of my life, and nothing will ever beat it. I don't care if we win the Champions League. Nothing will ever beat it, right? But going back on that, right? I remember I used to listen to Arsenal on the radio. We had this big old-fashioned radio, right? Because football didn't even used to be on, right? I mean, people didn't have PlayStations in them days. I used to live in a block of flats, and my game. My mum used to work on a sewing machine, and I used to tie a toy soldier on the sewing machine for a bit of, and I used to put it down the landing. That was my game, right? When I was a 10-year-old boy, when Arsenal lost to West Ham, and then they went and lost in the final, I was crying my eyes out, right? 30 odd years on, 35 years on, right? I saw Trevor Booking at a wedding, right? I went up to him, I was polite, but he still grated me, you know. When we lost to West Ham. The 78 one didn't bother me against Ipswich, but that one when we lost those two trophies in a weekend, right? Because I think one was on Saturday, the other one was on a Monday. I think it was something like that, or 4 days.
I think it was Saturday and Wednesday or something like that, wasn't it?
Yeah. I mean, how did you lot feel then as kids? And another question I want to ask you, right? So don't forget that one. Another question I want to ask you. I feel bitter as an Arsenal fan now, to be honest with you, right? As bad as we was at Highbury, I didn't feel bitter then.
You know what? It's really hard because growing up as an Arsenal fan, we didn't win anything. So it didn't matter. So when we lost to Ipswich, I was distraught. It was terrible. And then we beat Man United in 79. My dad was there. I wasn't there. And he went out weirdly with the players after because he was really good friends with Brian Talbot. And then 80, when we lost to West Ham, that affected me more than anything because I was distraught.
It done me.
I started school in 1980 and everyone round where I lived was West Ham or Tottenham. So I was like, I said, I don't care. We've got Valencia. We're going to win that. And then we lost that as well. And it was awful. It was horrible. So 81, 82, all this Don Howe, Terry Neal, all that rubbish. And then my first live final was Liverpool in, is it 86 or 87? I never know what, 87. In 87. And I had one of the best seats ever at Wembley. I was on the stairs. So when they came up to get the cup, this is one of my little stories, is that Charlie Nicholas took my hat and scarf and ran around Wembley with it. Right. And I was only, 18 at the time, 17 at the time. And it was the best day ever of that. Then losing to Luton in '88.
Yeah.
Let's not go there with Gus Caesar, my dad said all the time. But obviously,
the modern day Mustafi.
I think, Sonny, the only way we'll ever beat '89 is if we play Tottenham in the Champions League final and beat them in the last minute. I don't think anything could ever really topple it. You know, really, what happened? Everyone knows the whole story. But
where was Terry, Melvin, Johnny? Where were you in '89?
In '89, I actually watched it at home. I didn't think we had any chance, and I couldn't get a ticket. And I thought, I can't believe it's gone through our fingers. But I've got to tell you something. When we won that night, I drove to Arsenal, and a load of people were there. It was fantastic. Saw a load of friends there. It's brilliant. But I said to someone, I might as well stop supporting the Arsenal now. I'm never going to see anything like this again.
It's true.
You know what I mean? That was it. I might as well give up. I've done that. Let's look for something else. But thank God I didn't. But Amanda, I've got to tell you something. I'm not a stalker, but I used to stand near you, opposite where the players come out with the East Stand years ago. Yeah, with your dad and all that. So yeah, I know that from that. But talk about first games. I know it's not the 80s.
He's not talking about.
I'm not, just to make sure, right, on record. But no, my first game I was taken to, it was in 1963, 2-3 season. We played Villa. My uncle, that's why I'm an Arsenal supporter, my uncle used to take me with Dad. And we got beat 5-4. And twice I got up to go to the toilet, and twice Villa scored. So they banned me for another year. I couldn't go for another year. True. I'm talking about Highbury. Highbury was fantastic. It's like going to, whatever, your church or whatever. It's like your hallowed place, isn't it? Even the food was better then.
But let me ask you all a question.
Hold on, Sonny, let the guys answer.
I just want to ask this one question, Chris. I just want to ask this one question, right? For all of you. Can you remember who used to run the gunner shop at Arsenal?
Yes. Jack Kelsey.
And I used to get his autograph every time I went in there, every week. He was Arsenal's goalkeeper in the 60s.
That's right.
Yeah.
Go on. I'm not going to say no more words. I just get too excited. Sorry. Go on.
For me in '89, I was only 11. So we used to play, like my dad used to run a football team, and we had like a few of the players. We were sitting in the car listening to it on the radio because at the time we used to go to a working man's club. And the only room that had a TV in was the adults' room. You weren't allowed in there. Like back then, it weren't like it is now, where you know what I mean. Everyone can go in. Like back then, it was only an adults' room, only over an 18s. So all the adults were in there watching it on a bloody little TV, and me and my mates were in the car and listening to it. But honestly, I swear on my life, I said to everyone that we will win this game. At 11 years old, and I said, Alan Smith will score, and Thomas will get the winner. And if I could have betted then, I would have been a bloody millionaire by now. But yeah, it was honestly, we was all running up and down the road like us kids, and when Michael Thomas scored, it was just unbelievable. All the adults come running out of the club, all the beer was up in the air. It was an unbelievable feeling, honestly. And even then, even when we got home, I think it was about 1-2 o'clock in the morning. We re-watched the game, me and my dad. It was unbelievable. It was just fantastic. It was brilliant.
And when you think about it, so when you actually think about the game, doesn't it fill you with joy? It fills me with joy all the time.
Oh, just literally even thinking about it. I mean, I retweeted a video the other day of it. And just the hairs on the back of your neck and your arm, it just takes me right back to the minute when I was watching it, honestly.
So, Terry, can I ask you one question? Did you have a prediction after you watched Fever Pitch?
I didn't. I don't know anyone, but my dad was a bit.
Johnny, I remember it clearly because what it was. I'll be straight here. When I was a kid, I used to get bullied because everyone was Liverpool. They were all Liverpool supporters, and I was Arsenal, and they were giving it to me left, right, and centre. And I was literally abused being an Arsenal fan. And it was I was 9 years old, and I remember my mum. She weren't massive on football, but my dad was born in the Angel Islet, and he was a huge Arsenal fan.
Yeah.
And my sister's boyfriend at the time, he was at the game, and I'll never forget watching it. And Alan Smith goal went in or not, they were going to allow it. And Smithy was one of my favourite players. So, yeah, won it, and I thought, still not going to do this. I was literally shitting myself. And I swear to God, all I remember still is, it's up for grabs now. It's up for grabs now. And Michael Thomas running through the midfield. And then the deflection off Grobbelaar. And my mum, who's not a football fan at the time, now, she's from Aberdeen. She is a gooner for life. She jumped, I swear to God, she whacked her fucking head on the back of her head, got a massive bump because I was so happy. I'm running around the house. I had a pack of bourbons in my hand, crunching. They went everywhere. I went absolutely fucking mental. And then I went to school, and as I went to school, I was king of the castle. I was king of the Liverpool fort. It was one of the, do you know, Amanda, Kevin, you know, Terry, it was one of them things, one of them football great moments I will never, ever forget. I know you guys are a little bit older and you remember you were there, but for a 9-year-old, for his first real joy experience of Arsenal winning a league, and they weren't, I mean, this Liverpool team were a fantastic Liverpool side. You know, let's be honest, no one expected Arsenal to go and do it. And wow, it was just fabulous. It was just fabulous for me. Brilliant.
Brian Moore, the greatest commentary of all time, that was about that Brian Moore commentary. You know, and something else other people didn't know, Kevin touched on it earlier, the 3 points for a win was actually Jim Hill, who changed the face of football.
Yeah.
Kevin touched on it earlier, the 3 points for a win.
Was that a bit of reverb there?
No, that was somebody else and their playback on.
Sonny, so you were listening to it on the radio?
I listened to the semi-final of the Cup Winners' Cup on the radio when Paul Bassett scored God bless his soul. But the actual game of 89, the final was the day of my dad's funeral. Unfortunately, I was 19 years old, and like I said before, I said that to Nigel Winterburn tonight as well. That 90 minutes, after all the trauma we had on that day, I was just a normal kid again, and I was living that 90 minutes. And you know what? I was crying and I was happy at exactly the same time. You know what? But it made my dad proud. And
emotional day for you, mate.
And I thank everyone connected with Arsenal fans as well, right? For making that day a special day.
Yeah.
Sonny, I don't know about you.
Can I just
sorry.
Can I just elaborate, really, that for people that weren't there at the time, right, the importance and how good Liverpool was at the time and all when we was playing them, because in that season we at one stage Arsenal were 11 points clear of Liverpool of that season, right? Yeah. And not only that, Liverpool had not lost by 2 or more goals at Anfield in 3 years, and Arsenal had not won there in 15 years. Liverpool had never previously been defeated either when John Aldridge and Ian Rush played together. So we went to Anfield that night, obviously having to get 2 clear goals. It was, you know what I mean? It was no one expected us whatsoever. I mean, the odds on Arsenal going to Anfield and getting 2 clear goals against Liverpool at the time was, you know, again, you couldn't bet on us, basically.
Terry.
You know what I mean? And that was what, you know what I mean? Just the feeling of going there and everyone was against us, really. You know what I mean? And no one had a hope in hell chance of Arsenal winning this against Liverpool. Even, I'll tell you the most iconic moment for me, right, was seeing Steve McMahon with his 1 minute. His 1 minute to all the players. Come on, we've got 1 minute coming from the referee. That to me, and then obviously Michael Thomas. I think personally, I would have run up to him and said, "Stick that minute up your arse, son." Do you know what I mean? But that was just brilliant, honestly.
Can I also say that when we talk about Liverpool then, if you look at Liverpool now, imagine going to Anfield now and trying to beat them 2-0. Yeah?
Yeah.
And that's exactly what it was like in the 80s. No one defeated them. It got boring. It was Liverpool. They were a superb club. Everything. They did not stop winning. So
they dominated. They
did exactly what they've done this season, Kev, right? Yeah. And last season they weren't far off, were they? They are like invincible as such, yeah? I know we're all desperate for them to lose one game, and that's what happened. But people have to understand that what we actually did was phenomenal. To keep the clean sheet, get the 2 goals in their yard that was like a fortress. So when people say, oh, you go on about 89 or anything, it's not just that match, it was everything. Liverpool were awesome, and they're awesome now. So if you compare it, who would give us, all right, who would give anyone a chance going to Anfield now? You know, just winning on the last game as well.
By 2 clear goals,
Two clear goals, and them not scoring with like Salah up front and stuff. So you know, when people say, and it's not because I'm biased and I don't work like that, that Aguero with the better ending than us is absolute bollocks. I'm sorry, they were playing at home against the team, and I mean, look, they took it. The QPR, I mean,
they play QPR.
I'm not saying it was exciting. I'm not saying it was exciting what they did. It was, but it's not in comparison to us.
Amanda as well. Liverpool back then. I don't know if Kev will agree. They were. I classed them as the Steve Davis of snooker. They loved to pass it back. They got a bit boring. The Terry Griffiths. They weren't the Jimmy White as Arsenal are, the attacking force. But also with that night itself, everyone played for that badge. Every single player on that page. And again, I know I keep bringing him up because he's like one of my heroes. But Tony Adams was.
Yeah,
I love them. I love Tony Adams. I just.
Do you know a player who played and never quite got the plaudits?
Can I say it first? Kevin? In case Kevin Richardson.
No,
I thought he was outstanding.
Awesome. We knew it was David O'Leary at the back.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
David O'Leary at the back was absolutely outstanding. And
he was.
Many people think we played a back four. We didn't. It was
No.
3-5-2. The Nigel and Dicko were the wing backs, and then we changed late in the second half when we were going for it. So it was George Graham masterclass. You know, before the game, was his team talk. He said, if we go in at 0-0, he said, we've got them where we want them. He said, we'll score an early one in the second half, we'll score a late one in the game, and then we're out like the SAS.
But also, what I wanted to say, sorry, Kev, and that was relating to that, was we won that match because George Graham thought we could win it and told them we could win it and believed we could win it. And you know what? I always believed, and I've heard that story before, that he sort of predicted that and he thought we could win it. That he instilled that confidence in those boys to go, do you know what? You're going to Anfield, you're going to play one of the best teams in the world, but you've got this. And I really believe that sort of soldier attitude, commander attitude, is what we need coming right forward now to Arteta, isn't it? It's exactly what we need. He needs to instill in them, which is obviously done in the defence a little bit, because we're obviously vastly improving. And it's going to take time, just jumping forward. People need to give Arteta and we need to give him a chance. Melvin, don't go like that, because we do.
I'm not doing what you're saying, Amanda.
Do you know what?
Someone put a stupid comment up.
Okay.
Hey, that was negative in the dressing room.
Kevin,
listen, bruv,
sorry.
These people that write this stuff, they don't even. You're not even an Arsenal supporter. You're talking about Kevin Campbell, mate.
Exactly.
What? Kevin Campbell's going to. Oh well, I've never heard that before. But anyway, but what I'm saying is that what we need is a bit of George Graham now and a bit of Arsene Wenger. We need it both, and let's hope Arteta is that.
But you know what he did as well, George Graham, was very clever. He took the Arsenal team up on the day.
Yeah.
They didn't stay the night in Liverpool, because he said all the people in Liverpool will be having a go at home, negative thoughts. He said, no, we're positive. We're going up on the day of the match, which they never used to do. Is that right, Kevin? That's what he's done?
That's right. And by the way, on the coach journey up there, he put the 1971 FA Cup final on, where he reckons he got a touch.
He never got a touch.
We know that, honestly. And the team argued with him for about an hour. You never got a touchdown, and he kept. It was the old video, so we had to keep winding it back manually to replay it. It was for an hour. It was hilarious.
Can I just ask you guys a question? You know the Arsenal ball back in the day at the Hillwoods, yeah? I think it was Dennis Hill at the time, wasn't it? Not Peter. I think it was Dennis. It was either Dennis or Peter. One of them, anyway. I was the ball out then as well, right? Because I always thought the ball was always in it for themselves, regardless of which ball was had under Cloggies and the Hillwoods. Was you guys, your old school gooners, was you the balled in them days? Because we was nothing club before '89 was a nothing club really.
We never spoke about the balls.
No.
Yeah.
Never. We never spoke about the ball. It was always about
never
the
a factor.
No.
They were never a factor. Unless it was a change of manager, it was never a factor.
No.
Money changed the game. Money changed the game.
Looking back in hindsight, that ball took us to the Emirates, yeah? Okay. Don't you think that they were just in it for their own game? As this chairman is now, this owner.
Sonny, let me just say this. When Sky came in and everyone moved away from the Football League. Oi, we're being infiltrated, mate.
Sounds like Claude's on the piss again.
What's happened?
The Russians are
Claude's
coming.
on the piss again.
There's some robot slurring,
Some interference. There was interference, Princess.
Was there? Oh.
Yeah, there was some interference somewhere. But no, guys, the important part of Arsenal at that time was the management getting it right with homegrown players. So the board didn't even have to interject. If George Graham needed a player, he could go to them and get a player. But the fact of the matter was, building with homegrown players made Arsenal an absolute fortune without the board even having to really get involved. Moving to the Emirates was a factor.
Terry, that's you,
As soon as the team sold into Sky and left the Football League,
Is it me?
that changed everything. And then it was all about money then.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was more of a level playing field back in the day, wasn't it?
Yeah, much more.
But it was also the Premier League as well.
Well,
Yeah.
Premier League and Sky kind of came together, didn't they?
Yeah,
They
that's
came
what it
as one.
was. And Abramovich as well.
Yeah.
Didn't you guys ever think of buying one of the flats at Highbury?
Didn't have the money.
No,
I've got
I
five.
never.
I've got five.
Right.
I never even thought of Arsenal as flats. The ground's too iconic for me.
Yeah.
So even when I walk past it now, I still think about it as Highbury. I don't think about it as flats.
Yeah.
What about you, Mel?
I know someone who's actually bought a flat exactly where he sat in the ground.
Wow.
Fantastic.
Amazing, yeah. Really, really good bloke. But I mean, going to the old Highbury thing when it moved. I mean, I think Wenger came out the other day, told us the obvious. We've lost our soul. Well, thanks for telling us that. But I mean, that is the case. You can never go backwards now. That's the problem. You know, it's like moving to a new town, new people, and you don't know anyone. I don't sit near anyone I used to sit near at Highbury. I sat with for years. It's like a club within a club. There must have been 20 of us. Go every week. You know, pass around the old peanuts and all that. You know, it was like chat. We had to use not always the same things about the players, but a lot of the time we did. It was really enjoyable. Now you go to the new ground and it was like, if you sat in row 2 at Highbury and you sat in row 2 in the Emirates, it's like sitting in row 22 at Highbury. You're just so far away from it, you know. I know my eyesight's not getting any better, but years ago I was so close I could see the players' faces, you know, and you see the same faces around you. It was fantastic. It was a feeling. It was a club within a club. Now it's a stage now, and it's a stage. It's like a West Ham.
Melvin, that's what I think Arsenal got wrong. Princess, you know, when you were Highbury, when you went to Highbury, Johnny, Terry, Sonny, when you go to Highbury, there's regular faces you see. regular people. You know, as Amanda, you said, you'd be on the corner opposite the ground, and everybody would congregate there. It was a sea of people, and then you all went in the ground together. You sat together. They should have taken that into account, placing people at the Emirates, because that was that's half the job, isn't it? Who you're with at football.
Yeah.
It was a family.
And the familiarity.
It was a family.
And it's gone. It's crazy. Do you know what I hope? I hope they can bring back some safe standing.
Yeah. I've been talking about that.
And get a North Bank going again, I swear.
But the thing is, though, as I said at the Emirates, there isn't anywhere anyone congregates. It's just a round bowl, isn't it? There's nowhere really. There's a few statues, and it's not the same, and we have to accept that. And if you still want to go to the Emirates, then you just get on with it. Unfortunately, I used to love it because we used to meet everybody on that corner opposite the Marble Hall, and anyone used to join us. We had journalists come up to us. I'll never forget a journalist actually back in around Jan or Feb time, and this is true story. He looked at me like, "What do I know?" And I said to him that United will win the treble, and he looked at me like I was like an idiot, and he went, "No, they won't." And I went, "They will. This is their year to win the treble." And he went, "Okay, young lady, we'll see." Needless to say, I never saw him again, but it was just a good area because the coach came in and everyone went in the marble halls, and now unfortunately, and I do love social media, and there's many positives to it, but the negative side is that they get so much abuse. People want to sell their tops, sell everything, that they don't want to mingle with fans, and I sort of get that to a degree as well, because I've been in a pub where Arsenal players drive past and people are jumping in front of their cars and giving them abuse if they play badly, and it's not on. So
it was the same back in the day, Amanda. Let me tell you.
Yeah, I know. It wasn't on social media, Kev.
That's part and parcel.
Yes, but you wouldn't have been splashed over for, you wouldn't have been in the papers, you wouldn't have been in social media. There wasn't anything like that. If we gave abuse to a player, we didn't abuse anyway. We weren't those sort of people. We'd have a moan up like anyone would. But at the end of the day, I feel it's a different era.
There's a level where as far you can go, and I'm not being funny. I mean, I know Kevin said to me in the 12 pins once, he said to me, he goes, "Look, Johnny, we had it back then, but I suppose it's on the individual, but there's a lot of you can't do that to players. I know they do, but the fact is, it's a bad thing to do, and especially, I mean, look what happened to Aubameyang, when the woman ran out in front of his car. Kev, back then, you guys don't. You're still human beings at the end of the day. I know you're in the media. I know you're playing for Arsenal Football Club, but there comes a point where I'm an Arsenal maniac. I mean, Sonny, he loves the Arsenal, but you can't.
Johnny, I hate them more than I love them now, to be honest with you, mate. They're pissing me off too much now, honestly.
You can't go jumping in front of the guys' cars and abusing them. I know it's not a perfect world, but you can't do that.
I think the difference is now, though, is like back then, even when I was mascot, obviously after the game, my mum and dad and a few of the others, they went back into the players' lounge. And the players' lounge obviously had the players come in, they had a drink with you, you know what I mean? They associated with the fans, and obviously everyone had a few drinks with each other.
Signed everything, yeah.
My brother was a mascot for the Junior Gunners at Tottenham, and we lost. And we went in the players' lounge, and it was, Gary Lineker was playing for Tottenham, so I don't know what year it was, but it was so different. Not anyone could walk in the players' lounge, obviously, but it was just, the mentality was if they wanted to have pictures with the kids, they wanted, they were a bit more friendly as such. But I'm with Johnny, you cannot jump in front of someone's car and then decide to abuse them and go on social media and show the video. I mean, I abhor all that,
Yeah, I mean, Amanda, is that a fan even? Would you?
No, that's not a fan. No, because we're fans and we wouldn't do that.
Amanda, earlier.
The problem you've got is people will say to me, "Oh, you Arsenal fans doing that." No, it's not you Arsenal fans. Every club has their dickhead fans. Every club. I'm sorry, it's not just Arsenal or Tottenham or Liverpool. Everyone's got them, right?
Amanda,
of life.
Terry, move that thing away from the screen, mate. Amanda,
Finger.
Amanda, you said something very special earlier, right? Basically, you know when the coach pulled up, firstly the away coach and then the home coach to the Marble Halls, right? And we were still standing there, right? Everybody was standing there. There's such a good crowd down there, right? And just to get that glimpse of the players getting off that coach was like a cup final day at Wembley, right? And now it just goes underground. It just goes underground. You don't see it. We're so cut off from it.
But you know what? I was in Manchester when I had a drink with Kev, and Kev went off to Old Trafford with Lee, and I met my mate, and we went off to Old Trafford, and I walked down the wrong street and ended up at the Arsenal Players Hotel, just out of nowhere. I was just walking down the wrong street, and we stood there. We were in touching distance. I had a picture done with Steve Bold and a few others. The players came out. They all had headphones on. They was all looking down. They all went straight in the coach, right? And I'll tell you what, I sort of didn't blame them because there was only about 10 of us standing there. And there was this bloke that did not stop abusing them, right? Now, I'm sorry, just before a game, let's not do that, yeah? Let's give them a bit of encouragement. There were kids there that wanted signed bits. Arsenal had all their bouncers there, and I like schmoozed and got away with it. And I said, can you just let this little kid in and let him have a picture done with a Aubameyang or something? But the players wouldn't come near us. I can't remember. One did. I can't remember who it was. It's only last season. Was it last season, Kev? Or the season? I can't remember. But
yeah,
I sort of understand why they're distant to us, because to us six here, they wouldn't be, because we're decent adults, yeah? Well, when you've got people screaming abuse at Mustafi, why is he going to come over and sign anything? And why should
you know what, Amanda, you're so right as well, because I think, I could be wrong, shoot me down now on this one, but I think modern day society as a whole has changed dramatically. Yeah. And I think the actual fan nowadays thinks it's almost a divine right sometimes, and that they're being let down. And I think what it is they take it too personally now on the players. And also the wages of the player, they see that, and there's a form of jealousy sneaking in. I don't care if Mesut Ozil's on what he's on; he ain't worth what he's on. But at the end of the day, that's what Arsenal are paying him. But when you've got people that want to go and whatever you think of Granit Xhaka, when you've got people on social media hoping that his kid dies and saying about to me, they are not fans. They are not fans.
Let's not bring the conversation to what's name, to toxic fans. We don't want to go there. It's all about hybrid memories, right? But for me, right, I reached out to Kevin on social media. Again, I reached out to Nigel Winterburn and got a reply from him. If I bumped into an ex-player down the street, regardless of whichever team they played for, 9 times out of 10 they'll give you time. If I saw a man like Mesut Ozil, Lacazette walking down the road, I'd cross over. It wouldn't bother me. It could be the greengrocer, mate. I've got no bond with these players no more. I don't know if it's me or if it's just modern day football. I don't know.
I was in Oxford a few months ago, and I bumped into Martin Keown on my first hour of being in Oxford, and I've never met Martin before. And there was no way, as Kevin will tell you, that I'm not going to go up to him and say hello. We were in a shopping precinct. My boyfriend spotted him, and I just went, we've got to go and say hello, because I'm never going to bump into him again. And he was absolutely brilliant. And honestly, he just stood talking to us for ages, because he knew that we were proper fans. We were chatting about Emery at the time. It was everything. It was brilliant. But you're right. If you saw Ozil now, I don't think he'd even want to come and have a picture done with you or anything. And it's a shame, but it goes both ways. I feel for the players a little bit, and I do feel for the fans. But you cannot abuse players. You can have a go, you can have a moan. I moan, but for what Xhaka went through on social media was so disgusting that, as much as I was in the ground that day and what he did, and I don't agree with what he did, I feel for him and his family, even if it doesn't bring off a bit.
Amanda, we get some abuse on our social media accounts. So seriously, you go on Arsenal Fan TV, give your opinion, they'll slaughter you in the comments. Yeah, do we get any different than what Xhaka got?
No, but come on, look. As Johnny said, you don't wish death on anyone. For God's sake,
In society to do that. Of course.
No, but the problem is the respect has gone. Yeah, it's completely and utterly gone. Melvin's in an era before me. Me, Kevin, you, Sonny are in the next era. You know, my dad would never go up to a player at the age of 20. My dad at 25 would just go, "Oh, he had a rubbish game," or it's just not. You respected, like we were saying about the board. We respected the board. There was a lovely man called Ken Fryer that was there for many, many years, right? And as much as what David Dean did at the end, David was always a wonderful man and he would talk to us all the time. He didn't know us, but he spoke to us. It's so different now. You know, how many of us would love to come out the Emirates and bump into a player and just have a chat about the game? You know,
it's like what you said a minute ago about Lacazette. It's like Lacazette and people like, I won't say, but they won't have a photo. And Mesut Ozil, you're right, he wouldn't have a photo. And I mean, miracles happen. I mean, no one wants a photo with me, and Kevin Campbell was kind enough to have a photo done. And that's probably ruined his fucking career. But he done a photo anyway.
But the thing is, years ago, I don't know when it stopped, the players before a game used to come out of Avenel Road or the Marble Halls and have a chat with you. Some of them
I've not seen that.
It was fantastic.
On the steps, we used to come down the steps.
Yeah, but you used to come out and
come down the steps
and see your family.
Do you know what?
They used to come down and chat and everything. Yeah.
Kev, I used to write to Terry Neal regularly, right? He probably wasn't even Terry Neal who answered me back, right? But what they used to send me back, they used to send me a nice letter, nice printed letter with Terry's signature on it, and they send me a postcard of all the players like the squad. I treasured that letter. It was like a letter from the Queen for me, right? That personal touch ain't there no more. It just ain't.
This is what I would say about. I think we're all in the same boat here, guys. You remember the feeling between the fan and the player was a lot closer back then. You could relate to the players because a lot of the players had supported the club or came through the ranks, and in your programs you'd heard about them coming through the ranks or whatever. So there was a bond. There was a definite bond between the fan and the player. I think now it's, and you know, even when Arsene Wenger first took over and he started bringing in a bit more foreigners, even the foreign players had that bond with the fans. Your Vieiras and Henrys and all these guys, you know, because Tony Adams and all these guys were at the club, I think it was an easier transition for those to connect to the fan base. But obviously now, it's very different now. You know, when it seems to be they don't want a relationship as much with the fan base. And that's apparent to me now.
You know,
and that's
Kev,
what makes life difficult.
Kev, look at his comment, right? Look at his comment on screen here. 101 on Arsenal, great channel, by the way. He says, look, we're talking about back in the day Arsenal, right? We're smiling. Our heart has gone warm, right? It's like we're talking about one of our kids, right? You talk about modern day Arsenal, you start cussing. So let's move this conversation on to where Arsenal are going to go as a football club now.
Sonny, just before we do it, can we just quickly talk about the 91 season where Campbell had a great impact on our season when we won the league that season?
Yeah, a brilliant season.
Yeah, let's talk about that, Terry. Yeah.
Can you remember how many goals you got that season, Campbell?
I can't even remember, mate. It's all a blur because to win your first trophy with Arsenal was just amazing. And I remember getting in because the team were like faltering a little bit, and I'd been out on loan a couple of times. And George Grant, we were working on the training pitch, and he goes, right, you're going to get your chance and you're going in. And I know you're not going to let me down. So I went in there. Alan Smith, by the way, was an unsung hero. He was a fantastic player. Yeah. And he made life so easy for me, I swear. Brilliant. I mean, he was the top guy because he was the hold-up guy. He scored 20-odd goals a season. But he was one of them centre forwards who can bring other players into the game. He made everybody look good. So, yeah, brilliant. Absolutely brilliant. And to and the way we won it. By the way, where were you the night where Nottingham Forest beat Liverpool and we played Man United in the evening game, and we'd already won the league?
I was there.
Where were you?
I was there. You know where I was, Kevin, as well? I went up
Go
to
on.
Sunderland because we could have won the game at the league at Sunderland had we beaten Sunderland that year. We drew 0-0.
That's
I
right.
think. I was at that game.
Yeah.
That was amazing as well.
I don't know. I don't know where I
Do you
was.
remember it was an evening game, Princess? It was an evening game, and Forest played Liverpool before our
Earlier,
game.
2 hours before.
Yeah, 2 hours
That was
before.
a carnival. That was a carnival.
We were at South Arts Golf Club, having pre-match, and we were watching the game. And then when we realised we'd won,
Did Forest beat them? Was it Forest?
Forest, yeah, Nottingham Forest beat them 2-1.
That's it, yeah.
Oh, I think
That's
I
how we
remember
won the
this
league.
now.
And
Alan
we,
Smith scored a hat-trick that night. We
Yes.
beat them 3-1. And we were coming out with red wigs on and all that for the warm-up. It was a party atmosphere. I've
carnival.
never experienced anything like it around Highbury, honestly.
Do you know what? Don't give me this ball after 1 or 2 Arsenal crap, right? Because in '91 we was an exceptional football team. You know, we went the whole season and we only lost to Chelsea 2-1. I think it was away,
Was
wasn't it?
that the Chelsea game where Steve Bold cut his head?
Yeah.
Yeah, David Illia went centre back.
So
I was
how difficult is
so
it?
privileged for that. I remember that because he
went
had a
up
bit quite. Yeah.
I went.
Is that the only one we
Yeah,
lost?
his head wrapped.
Yeah, so the only one we lost.
So look, going unbeaten is not that difficult because George Graham almost done it, and Arsene Wenger almost done it the year before. We actually been unbeaten.
Yeah.
But no one's done it since, have they? So it's not that easy.
No, but you know what, Sonny? That defensive unit and that defensive understanding travelled.
Yeah.
You know, whereas at home we were strong under Wenger, and then away from home we weren't so strong in the end.
Oh,
Oh,
he's back.
Oh.
Can you hear me, guys?
Yeah,
Yeah.
he's back.
Go on.
Now I can't hear you. One second.
That season, I mean, if
technology.
that season, if you look at all the goals that everyone got, I mean, Smithy got 22 goals, Merson got 13 goals, Limpard got 11 goals, Campbell got 9 goals, Dixon got 5 goals at penalties, Groves got 3, Rocastle got, there's goals all over the pitch. That's what we ain't got nowadays.
Yeah, that was that year. They got rid of Marwood and they got Limpard.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, I loved Brian Marwood on the wing.
Yes, right.
I like
Limpard was phenomenal.
Marwood and Martin Hayes went that year.
Yeah. Martin Hayes went Celtic, didn't he, or something?
Yeah.
Yeah, so, yeah.
Yeah. But, you know, the Arsenal Football Club at that time, the feeling, and that team conceded only 18 goals that season as well.
Yeah.
I think the last game we beat Man United, I think it was 3-1. If we wouldn't have let in that goal, we would have had another record of least goals or something. They were very upset they're trolling.
Yeah, we played Coventry at home, 6-1 we beat them.
6-1. Yeah.
Oh, Limpard was unbelievable that game.
Was you there when George Graham got sacked, Kev?
Yes,
I
it was.
was.
Yeah.
So what was the players' thoughts when George Graham filled his carry bag up 450 grand and he saved his carry bag? What?
Well, it's quite ironic because remember, George Graham was known as a disciplinarian. You know, you had to fight for every penny you got, and then to know he's having the carrier bag full of cash. You know, it's quite ironic for us. Do you know what I mean? It was difficult because obviously it's the end of what we built. So on one hand, you're kind of like you're disappointed that he could have shared some of that money out to the players who were actually doing the business. But on the other sense, it was the end of that era.
But Kevin,
it was a very successful era, winning 2 league titles, challenging that Liverpool side and winning 2 league titles, bringing home only our 2nd European trophy, winning the 2 FA Cup and League Cup in the same season. All that he was successful. He turned us into winners. He really did, and with a homegrown squad.
He did, Kevin, but before he got the sack, the team had gone downhill.
And Melvin, that's because he wouldn't spend the money.
Yeah.
It felt more than that, Kev. It felt like something wasn't right. You know what I mean? It wasn't. We had decent players. I thought that something turned off the tap.
Melvin, let me just say this: you always strengthen from the point of strength. When you're strong, exactly. When you're strong, you strengthen.
Yeah.
And George Graham wouldn't strengthen. He didn't want to break the wage structure because in his head, well, I'll have to give Tony Adams and I'll have to give this one and I'll have to give that one. When really that should have been the least of his problems. He should have been strengthening as we went because we could have dominated. We really could have dominated, but for money, and that in the end became his downfall, just because of money.
But you know what? That's what Alex Ferguson did. He built on strength all the time. He had the best, and he wanted more of the best. And you're right. And I agree with Melvin. That last year of Graham was terrible, and there was something so wrong that even us as Arsenal fans, this would have been on social media, were arguing outside Highbury. God, you'd have had every fan TV station out there if you'd seen what was going on about it was George Graham out or George Graham to stay. And I wanted a change, and look, at the end of the day, you can look back, and there was one thing I wanted to say, just going back on something. I'd ask you all this: who would you rather meet? The players of yesteryear in the street, like when I bumped into Keown and when I talked to Kevin and Wrighty and Adams. Every time I meet them, I'm like in awe. If I bumped into Mustafi or Aubameyang or Xhaka or even Leno, I wouldn't be as excited as I would be. Of all the players in Manchester, I wanted my picture with Steve Bold. I don't know if that's because of my age and because of Boldy, but I wasn't bothered about Bellerin and stuff. As much as I love them and I want my team to win every single game and every trophy, I'd rather meet the older players of years ago. So,
do you know what, Amanda? You're so right again, because the fact is, and as shameful as it might sound to some of you, just a couple of seasons ago, I wanted if there was any Arsenal fan player I wanted to meet, sadly, it was Petr Cech, because Petr Cech was a legend. And then if you ask me,
you're not a legend, Johnny. Come on.
Oh, Petr Cech's a legend, man.
Arsenal legend? Are you serious? Arsenal legend?
Premier League legend. He is.
No.
He's a legend in football, not at Arsenal, but he's a
Premier League legend.
Yeah, that's what I meant. Sorry, that's what I meant to say. But he did win the Golden Glove for Arsenal, to be fair. Yeah. But if you ask me now, out of the group of players, who would I like to meet? I'd say David Luiz.
Okay.
Do you know what? Luiz, looking at that team, the thing that actually stands out to me, what Arsenal don't seem to have every single season, is that 9 of them players in that squad started more or less over 30 games in a season. Literally, and half of them played every single game that season.
Yeah.
So you had at least 5 players in that team, and most of them was the defenders. So you had that solid back 5 with the goalkeeper playing nearly every game in the season. I mean, when was the last time Arsenal had that?
I wouldn't even say Pat Jennings is a legend. He's a top legend. He's not an Arsenal legend.
But the thing is, though, if you're going to keep harping back to that, you're not going to accept what we've got now. Players are different.
Yeah, no, I appreciate that.
You know what I mean? We have to accept that as now. We've got it. It can't go back to how we were. You're not going to have players like Kevin and Rice. You're not going to have it. It's to the extent of how they react with fans. I remember seeing Ian Wright at Highbury, and we had just a laugh. There was nothing. We were all gooners. Righty loved Arsenal as much as all we did.
You know what? I mean, back then we had a 3-course meal. Now we've got a microwave dinner. Yeah,
but you know what though? All right, Sonny, but you have to accept that you have to accept the microwave dinner, or don't bother supporting Arsenal. I'm sorry, that's just it.
Amanda, Sonny, could you? If anybody was there, do you remember the Winners' Cup semi-final against Paris Saint-Germain?
You scored the winner.
After the game, all the players out the windows and all the fans were out the front. You would never see that at the Emirates.
No.
The fans singing the songs and the players out throwing shirts out. I think Wright was throwing suits out. and every shirts and ties. It was
But
that bond was just there.
But
It
you know
really
what,
was
though,
there.
Kev? You know what, Kev? If we could see the Winders at the Emirates and we did win something like that, I think you'd see the young boys doing it. Willock, Eddie. I think it would be
Saka. Yeah.
Saka, probably Torreira, and he'd be the only one I really want to meet at the moment. It would be that lot. You wouldn't see a Aubameyang, Ozil, Lacazette, I'm not so sure on, but I think that's the difference. I remember being outside, I don't think it was PSG, when Adams and Wright were outside. I've got the picture when they're like this going, I'm trying to show you on the camera. And we were all going ballistic in Avenel Road, you know.
Yeah.
That's so close to the fans. We were chucking scarves at them and everything. But we've not got that. So we have to move on.
There ain't been no one who represents fans.
I think it will move on. I think it will move on. I think Arteta is showing an appetite to give youngsters a chance.
Yeah.
And youngsters have a feeling, they have a definite feeling and affinity with the football club. So we have to rekindle that.
Kev, we've got about 10 minutes left, right? Let's quickly just go on to Arteta and talk about if there's been any improvement, please. I'll be to hear your opinion, please.
I'll bring you back.
My opinion on Mikel Arteta, he's doing it exactly, and it's virtually a mirror image of how George Graham done it. You've got to get the back right first, because that's the foundation that everything is built. Don't forget, we were conceding goals at an alarming rate. We were conceding shots at an alarming rate. He's addressing that. And always the attack suffers. The attack always suffers when you concentrate so much on defense.
Because we've got shit midfield doesn't help though, bro.
Well, listen, you can call them shit, you can call them whatever. It is what it is. These are the players he's inherited. We ain't going to go out and spend 100 million in January like we haven't done already.
Yeah.
What he's got to try and do is get the balance. I believe this summer is going to be the most significant summer.
Oh, big time.
Because we know there's players there that need to leave. We know there's players there that aren't good enough. And then we're going to find out how Mikel Arteta picks his players and his system. Because I think we're kind of fitting players into a system that don't suit them. And he's going to go for players who fit the system. That's what Klopp does, if you've noticed. Klopp doesn't just go and buy any old player. He buys players that fits his system. And now he's got the players that fits his system. It works like clockwork.
But Kev,
Have you noticed all the intensity?
how can the fans have confidence, right? When Liverpool go and buy...
Sonny, one sec, Johnny, sorry, go on.
You know, Liverpool go and buy Ferrari and Virgil van Dijk. We bought a tractor in Mali. How can we have confidence?
Yeah, I know. But remember, back in the day, George Graham bought Nigel Winterburn, Lee Dixon, and Steve Bold. And when you look at value for money, look at the value for money. With Tony Adams with them, that back four were there for how long? How successful were they? So
exactly.
I know it's difficult. Spending money doesn't guarantee you anything. We've seen flops, haven't we, in the Premier League? Spending money, it's about picking the right players. And I think Mari, who's a left footer, is going to fit, because he's a good passer of the ball, he's going to fit what Arteta wants.
But so was Vermaelen, though. Vermaelen was a left footer. It didn't make our defence any better.
No, but remember, we're talking about two different people. One was Arsene Wenger. One was Arsene Wenger. This one, and Arsene Wenger, listen, he had the Invincibles. Respect to him. But come the end, it wasn't about balance. The team was imbalanced. The team was very imbalanced. Arteta's trying to find balance in this Arsenal team, an Arsenal squad now. He's going to do his best until the summer, and in the summer, watch.
Kev, if you was the manager now, and you had to get rid of 3 players and get 3 players in, who would they be?
3 players. It depends on my budget, doesn't it? It really depends on my budget, because if you're looking at do the front boys work, that's what you look at. Lacazette seems to be suffering. Aubameyang is scoring goals, but he's not really playing that well. And we've got £72 million Nicolas Pepe on the bench who ain't playing. We've got Martinelli, who costs £6 million, who's at double figures, who has got a fantastic future at the club. But is he going to be a starter? So for me, we need a centre back. We definitely need a centre back. I'd get Koulibaly myself.
Yeah,
He's the defender I'd get. I'd buy in midfield. I think we need a midfielder who can do everything, box to box, control games. I like Jack Grealish. I really do. I like Jack Grealish. I'll have him in there. I'm telling you, I would. And I'd go and get Wilfried Zaha.
Oh.
I'd get Wilfried Zaha to play on the left because we struggle when we don't get past fullbacks. We need players who can beat fullbacks. Leaving possibility would be obviously Socrates could be gone. Mustafi could be gone. Could Xhaka still could be gone, I suppose.
He should win January, Jeff. He should win January.
El Nene could be gone, so that's 4. Will Mesut Ozil be there? I don't know. He started pretty well under Arteta, but I don't think he's at the levels that he did before. So that's probably 4 or 5 players there that you're looking at and you're thinking, could they possibly leave the club? I mean, Aubameyang and Lacazette, after this season, they've only got 1 year left. So it might be time to cash in on them. Because we can't afford to let these players run their contract now.
We ain't going to miss them. We're not going to miss them.
I'm not saying we will, Sonny, but I'm just saying if we can get something for them now and get a replacement in, that's what we should do. If they're not going to re-sign.
Amanda, what do you do, Amanda? For me, the problem is midfield more than it is defence, to be honest with you, but go on.
Well, if Aubameyang won't sign his contract, he's got to go. That's number one. There's a lot, isn't there, that needs to change. I really like Lacazette. I just think he's going through a bit of a bad form at the moment. And
it's crap, though, Amanda. You can't defend
that. You're going to get rid of every player that has bad form.
3 seasons, man. Look at his goal score.
He's had bad form for 3 seasons.
He's player of the year last year, son.
Yeah, don't be ridiculous. He's not. He's going through a really bad patch, and I think
he needs us.
Kudos to Arteta to keep playing him through it because he does try. It's just a little bit of bad form at the moment. Aubameyang,
15 goals out in the season. It's terrible. It's rubbish.
Okay. But what Kev's saying is true. You know, if you brought Zaha in, you know, that could make a massive difference. I really like Pepe. I think we've got to give him a chance and give him some confidence for a start. Listen, I've always been an Ozil fan from minute 1 till now, but I do feel he has to go. I do think time has come. As much as I love him, I don't think Arteta wants to build the team around him. I don't know what Arteta's plans are. I think our main thing now is just not to get relegated, to try and start winning some games. I'm not worried about anything else at the moment. We're not going to get top 4. It's just not going to happen. But, you know, what he is doing is trying to shore up the back. And, you know, Mustafi's starting to improve. Let's just give him a chance.
Man, the reason we're there.
Well, wait a second. I wanted Xhaka out last year, but you know what? He has played tremendously well lately since Arteta's come. And I just think, look, it's not great, but this is not Arteta's fault. And we have to support that man, right?
Yep. Oh, 100%.
He talks the talk. He seems to be walking the walk. I'm very happy he's there. I don't feel angry that he was brought in. If anything, I'm the opposite. And it has changed.
Nigel Winterburn's here. Johnny, I'm going to have to cut you if that's all right, mate.
No worries, mate.
Nice one, Johnny.
Please, Nigel.
Bye, Johnny.
Bloody hell.
Oh,
hello.
Ninja.
Well, you shouldn't cut people off. It's rude.
No,
That was the test, and you've just failed it.
No, I haven't.
No, I'm logging off, and I'll wait for you to respond to the clients that you've just pushed in the background, and I'll come back on next week.
Nigel.
Nice one, Nigel. Nice one.
How you doing, Kev?
I'm well, thanks, Nigel. How are you, mate?
Yeah, very well, thank you.
You don't even
But,
look like you've aged. He doesn't even look like his age, does he?
I've got an ice pack on the ankle. That might tell you where I've been, why I bombed you out.
Nice. The last time Kevin came on the podcast, right? I said to me and Kevin are the same age, yeah. I said to him, I'm a better footballer than him now, right? He's an old man as well. But you're fitter than a pusher's dog, mate. I can't say that about you.
Well, you can say what you like, but I might turn off.
Do you know what? I'm blown away. I've got that. All of you, you're all legends to me. I'm blown away. I really appreciate it. Thank you.
So go on, carry on. I'm just listening tonight, so I just want to see what your banter's like.
No, Dave.
Well, basically, I've assassinated everyone, but you like the old school. I can't say a bad word against you.
Hey, Sonny, it's great that the old school can support this pod.
Yeah.
And talking about the nostalgia,
Yeah.
I think that's really important. Do you know what I mean? To do stuff like this, because there's a lot of youngsters who never had the opportunity to know what it was like at Highbury, or how Nigel came to the club, and Nigel was playing right back to start with. Kenny Sansom was left back.
No, you two should be thanking me, right? Because you two are like Elvis. You'd have been forgotten. I'm keeping you not relevant.
Is it possible to ask Nigel what it was like in that 89 season and what it was like at Anfield?
Well, I mean, I don't think I need to describe it too much. I mean, we should have won the league a couple of games before that.
Yeah.
We decided to make it a little bit more interesting by having to go to Anfield and test our supporters out, see whether they really believe like we did. So, I mean, sometimes you've got to make the league interesting, and you've got to have the greatest finish ever to a game of football. So, I mean, it was incredible, because that was, I've got to say, a sensational Liverpool team.
Yeah, it was.
Definitely.
That's what I was saying. But Nigel, look at Liverpool now and look at Liverpool when you played them, and it's the same team. They're just as tough.
Well, they're pretty good at the moment. That's for sure. I mean, they are. I mean, they literally are just annihilating everybody. They've got some fantastic players, but also with confidence, Kevin will tell you, breeds success, and you never believe that you're going to be beaten. And if you get into that winning mentality, it can take you a long way with organisation and good players.
Nice.
What was it like in the dressing room, Nigel, just before the game?
You was nutty as a bus. That's what I love about you.
No, it was good. I mean, listen, it all the way it panned out with George's speech and what he wanted us to do. Everybody just thought we would go gung-ho and try and score straight away, but he just really wanted us not to concede. Taking those flowers out before the game as well was such a special thing.
Great touch.
Yeah, that I'll never ever forget. And then Mickey's goal right at the end after me cursing him a few minutes earlier for missing. So it was a special night, and you just don't forget them. The problem is I don't remember what happened the week after. Because we're too busy out celebrating.
I'm sure if I'm right, I can't remember, but as soon as he scored that goal, I think you was just behind him and you just run in the opposite direction instead of celebrating with him. That's what I've got to understand.
Yeah, what I was doing, I was praying that the ball didn't come to me, so I was delighted when Mickey scored. having missed the penalty the year before at Wembley, I didn't want that responsibility with me, else that would have been the end of my Arsenal career very quickly.
A lot confused me in life, right? The one thing what confused me the most is when you pick the ball up, right? You're about 40 yards out and you smash it to the top corner.
Well, the Wimbledon goal.
Yeah.
You sound surprised. What are you surprised at?
I'm surprised. You've done it another 100 times, you'll never score.
Nigel scored some screamers.
Yeah, Chelsea was a screamer.
The Chelsea one was the best, I think.
Right.
No, I think for me the Wimbledon goal was the best. I think most people remember Chelsea because I call it more modern. It was in the Premier League.
Yeah.
But in terms of a pure strike, I won't get better than when the Wimbledon goal at home because I was right behind it. It just went straight into the top stanchion and. From it was about 25 yards. I mean, it's getting longer every single year, to be honest.
That was your time for the UNF one, wasn't it, Nigel?
I was going to say 35, but I knew Kev would start sniggering at me. So, but it was about 25 yards. I mean, it was just a pure strike. With my favourite right foot as well. So,
I remember tapping. Wasn't it a tapping?
Yeah, because mine were all tap-ins.
So did you ever do what Steve Dixon did against Coventry? Did you ever do like that?
No. Kev will tell you that Dicko was the own goal king. He was.
I remember that was so well.
That was a beautiful lob.
And he blames goalie.
And he blames goalie, and then he did a header as well at Ipswich away one year. But I think, luckily enough, I think we were winning 6-0 at the time, so everyone forgets it. But it was a lovely little bullet header from the penalty spot.
Nice. I know your mum's not been well recently, right? So if Mrs. Winterburn's watching, right, I just want to wish you well and thank you for giving us the best left back in Arsenal's history.
Nice one, Sonny. Nice one.
It's took me 6 weeks to work out how this works. My mum's 87. How's she going to work it out?
Well, me and Kevin are 50, and so's Amanda. We're just about trying to figure it out at all.
Well, all I'll tell you is she's got a phone, but she never switches it on.
Oh, bless her. 87.
I hope she gets well, Nigel.
No, she's all right. I tripped her up going down my stairs, and she got multiple fractures of the pelvis, but she's back home now. She's all right. She's very strong. She won't give in, so that's for sure.
Do you know what? You ex-footballers are really busy, right? That myth about you lot, all you do is play golf, right? It's gone out the window because you and Kevin are always working. What day are you going to grace us with your presence next week, if possible? It's going to be a late one, isn't it?
Well, it'll have to be maybe definitely not a Thursday because I'm playing football all the time. So Tuesday or Wednesday, whatever you want to do.
Whatever's best for you. You just drop me a line and then we'll do it at 10 o'clock if that suits you.
I'm around all the time. I'll just tell you I'm not here.
Anyway, nice. You only get love on the first podcast, right? Afterwards, you start getting abused. Just get ready.
Well, that's all right. Well, let's do 8:30 Wednesday or something like that.
8:30. Well, brilliant.
Can we have a quick question for around?
And you want to come on? Obviously,
guys, I've got to go because my wine's chilling in the fridge and I don't want to let it over chill.
Nice. I love you, mate. Thank you.
Thanks very much. Nice meeting you.
Bye, Nige.
Enjoy your evening, guys.
We're going as well now. Thanks, Nige.
Cheers.
Thanks, you know what? That's Sunny TV Unfiltered. You know what? That has just made my night. It's made my year. It's made my decade. You know what? To speak to Nigel Winterburn, Kevin Campbell, Gooner Girl, I'm a Gooner, Johnny Butler, Melvin. I'm made up. You know what? I'm so happy. And on that note, we're going to finish it on a happy note. And we're lucky. We're on an international break. We're winter break, and Arsenal not going to piss us off, right? Nigel Winterburn, I feel like crying. You know what? And Kevin, thank you. I'm gone because I'm going to break down because I'm an emotional bloke.
Hey, I want to see tears, son. Come on, let's see it.
I always cry when you upset me anyway.
Oh, Kev, don't make him cry. You make me cry every time.
I'm choked. Honestly, I'm choked.
It's weird. It's been a long time we want tears of joy. A long time since we've had tears of joy.
Seriously, I'm choked. I'm really choked.
But that's nice. Sonny, you deserve it. It's only because you deserve it, mate. It's only because you deserve it, mate.
You know, seriously. I've gone through a hard time, and that's brilliant. Thank you. I was just going to say bye to everyone. Please subscribe to the channel if you haven't. Respect everyone who gives up their time for me. All you lot who are watching as well and in the comments as well, as well as my lovely family on this channel as well. Please subscribe, smash the like button, and we'll see you soon.
See you, everyone.